Hello and welcome to Do More 24 Delaware's training for Delaware's Giving Day. I am so excited. My name is Shalon Hawkins. I'm with United Way of Delaware, and I have my partner in crime again, Stephanie Corey, who is a treat for us to have because she is an expert by far in helping nonprofits raise dollars. So I'm excited to get started. Today, you'll have the wonderful opportunity to learn how to leverage your board, volunteers, and donors. You'll get some great tips on strengthening relationships with your existing donors, what it means to build relationships with your new donors, and listen to some real-world strategies and examples of folks that are in nonprofits that participate in days just like this one. So, here we go. Keys to success. Organizational support from the top. It is crucial that we get those that are at the top, your executive directors, your CEOs, your VPs, to get on board and to get excited about Do More 24 Delaware, because they're the ones that are kind of set the tone for the culture of the organization. And if they're with it, then the staff will be with it too. And also making sure that this is not something that you just shake up and you just throw it against the wall and hope that it sticks, that you have tools and a toolkit and this training to help you to figure out how to plan to make sure that your day is successful. And then also too, Do More 24 is just not about March 5th and 6th. It is about using what you learned today and throughout your experience, throughout your entire year to help you raise money in a non-traditional way. And unrestricted dollars, cash.
And I would just add that as far as organizational support goes, support from the board is so critical. And we're going to talk about ways to engage your board. And a lot of the strategies that we're going to talk about today, you can use year-round to promote your annual giving, if you're involved in other giving days. So it's really more than just the one day. And then in terms of how you set your goals, you're gonna wanna have a goal for Do More 24. So how do you come up with that goal? Well, you could always just take what your deficit is, but I'm not recommending that. You want to come up with a realistic goal, hopefully something that you can reach. So that way you can have great announcements. Yay, we reached our goal of 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, whatever it is. So I would look at what your past success has been with Do More 24. If you've done it before, maybe you can compare to what you've done on maybe a Giving Tuesday to see what's realistic. But definitely be careful of aiming too high, because then you're going to have to go back to your donors and constituents and say, hey, we hope to raise 20,000, we raised $736. And you might also think of a goal that ties into your mission. Maybe the cost of serving all of the folks at your homeless shelter each day is $500. So maybe your goal could be to feed everybody for 2 months. So something, or if you're an animal shelter and it costs so much to house a dog for a month, you could say we'd love to house 10 dogs for 2 years. Something that has that tie-in.
Stephanie brings up a great point. It is so easy to talk about all the things that you do, the great things that you do, but it's so great to get specific about something in your organization that you need, whether it's around youth, whether, like you said, around, something specific for dog care. Try to be so specific because it makes it easy for folks to rally behind and get excited about. Okay. So what can you do in the time you have left? There's lots to do.
There is a lot to do.
But not anything that you cannot do. We're not talking about going outside of your scope of work, but something that is easy and friendly for you to do. Make sure that you know the hashtag DoMore24DE. Make sure you include it in all print materials. That is so important because it is an easy way for folks online to follow what is going on for the day. And plan out your social media posts. Think about now, what are the things that you want to talk about on social media? And then use some tools to make it easy where you can set it and forget it, such as Hootsuite. Those are great tools that you can use so that you can go ahead and plan it, and so that day you're not constantly, putting up the actual post, but it's already there for you, and you can focus on other things. And schedule your email notifications. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I'm assuming a lot of you have e-newsletters. You may also do e-blasts, so that's something you can schedule in advance. You can use them leading up to the day of, and we're going to show you some real-world examples in a little bit. But that, again, is something that you don't have to do on the fly. You can schedule those and set the time for when they go out.
And then recruit peer-to-peer fundraisers. Now, this is something that is untapped when it comes to Do More 24, but it is statistically a best practice that brings your organization more money. When you have other folks vying for you, you get more attention, and they're more likely to give, because people give to people. So if I have a friend that's raising money for, let's say, United Way of Delaware, my friends will be most likely to give to United Way Delaware just because we have a great relationship. And then identify a matching donor or donors. I'm going to let Stephanie talk about that.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about that again in detail, but that's certainly something you don't want to leave until the last minute. That's certainly something you want to plan earlier in your timeline.
And if you have registered already for Do More 24, now is the time to add the information to your website. You get a special URL, start getting folks to look at your page for Do More 24. And make sure that internally you have your staff on board as well. And an easy way to share the information is to add it to your signature line.
So that way, every email that goes out, people are reminded about Do More 24.
All right, now let's talk about getting the message out. There are so many ways that you can get the message out, which is, thank God, because you're actually meeting folks where they are. There are some folks that are more likely to engage with you via social media. There are some folks that actually like print newsletters. There are folks that actually like to read, to open the mail and to get it in the mail, or to actually to receive an email, whether it's an e-newsletter or an e-blast. And some folks you want to be able to have it visible on your website, because a lot of times the website is your online hello. Before they get to know your organization. And then also a personal email goes a long way.
And with direct mail, I'm sure you have some donors that give to you multiple times throughout the year. So when you're sending out a thank you letter to them, you can easily put in a little buck slip or a PS that says, thank you so much for your ongoing support. We're participating in Do More 24. Stay tuned for more information. So don't be afraid to cross channels and encourage people that like print communications to go online, and vice versa.
All right. What's the best way to get folks' attention, whether it's email or through social media posts? Number one, you have to use your hashtag. Take a minute. Say it with me. Hashtag. Hashtag Do More 24 Delaware. Make sure you're including it in all communications. Like I said, it's the best way for folks to follow you. And if your organization has their own hashtag, make sure you include that too. And if you don't have a hashtag, today is a great day for you to go ahead and create one. It's easy to see and to search to find if others are using the hashtag that you may be thinking of. So you can search it in Facebook, you can search it in Twitter to see if other folks are using it. And if they're not, then it's all fair game. And then make sure you use images. Pictures say 1,000 words. And sometimes images just kind of reel you in. It's like that hook. And videos are your bread and your butter. If you don't like it, I'm sorry, you have to get into it. But you have a beautiful HD device, your cell phone. If you have a cell phone, you can create videos. And to be perfectly honest, they don't necessarily have to be professional. Folks like that human, real, relatable type of content. So if you have board members, if you have clients, if you have friends, families that can make short videos to support you, please, please, please get them lined up and start deploying them. And then if you have stories, people want to see what other people are doing. So the great way to do that is testimonials. If you have client stories that are impactful, please share those. And then last but certainly not least, you gotta have a call to action, whether you're sending out an email or whether you are sharing this on social media. You gotta direct folks to your page. Tell them what to do. It's okay to tell them what to do. So make sure you have your call to action.
And just thinking more about images, you don't want to go with stock photography. You want to go, even if it's not the same level of quality, with real photos of your real work in action. And I realize depending on what your organization does, you may not be able to for privacy reasons, but maybe photos of staff or donors or volunteers, pictures of something, because people are so much more likely to stop and look at a social media post if there's an image or a video.
Yeah, before we move on, there was an organization, Westside Family Health. They used their nurses, their nurse practitioners, and what they did was they said, I do more 24 for the love of health or for whatever the case may be, but they made it like a picture campaign, and that got a lot of attention.
And that's a great way to bypass the privacy issues in healthcare. And in terms of numbers or stories, because some people think, oh, well, let's wow them with statistics. We serve 10,000 meals a year. We help 500 people get jobs. Or do you do stories? Well, the great thing about stories is they allow us to experience facts, and data validates emotion, not vice versa. So you're much better going on with a story than with statistics. Now, some people, I've done trainings and said, okay, who prefers data, who prefers a story, and it's split.
I would say it's half and half.
It's half and half, but, and if you're talking about, large groups of things, like if you think about something like the American Red Cross, and there's some huge tragedy, and 10,000 people lost their homes, that's a lot for people to think about. And they're thinking, well, how's my $100 going to help 10,000 people? So it's best to tell in one individual story about one person, one animal, one family that's been helped versus the whole big picture of what you're doing all year. And if you're thinking, well, let's make everybody happy and combining data and a story, well, that's actually less successful in appeals than data or a story. And when you're storytelling, write like you talk. Use contractions. You still use good grammar, but don't be too formal. Don't be stilted. And then convey your passion and paint pictures with your words. Be very descriptive. I realize this is harder on Twitter with the character limits, and we don't want whole novels on Facebook, but still use nice descriptive words. And about half of what your storytelling is finding a great story to tell. So you can find these stories from program staff, families, and clients you've served, your volunteers, your donors, and aim for short and inspirational. And talk about your impact, but do make your clients and those you help your hero, not your organization. But talk about, thanks to what you were able to accomplish with them, how their life has changed for the better. And again, focus on the one, not the many. So one person, one family, and to the extent you can, get permission to use real names and stories. They're so much more effective than a composite person. Oh, a typical client we serve is a 5-year-old child who's been in foster care for 3 years. Not as effective as if you could tell the story of a little boy named Jimmy. And keep the stories simple.
All right, recruiting your fundraisers and ambassadors. Let's hit it. All right, peer-to-peer fundraising. So this is a great way for you to engage, like Stephanie was talking about before, your board, also your staff. We found it a great way to engage staff members, but also too friends of the organization as well, whether it's your volunteers. But we've seen a lot of volunteers actually take a liking to the peer-to-peer fundraising, and even young people. So the YMCA last year had a host of young people that signed up as peer-to-peer fundraisers, and they were very successful. So there's a whole gamut of folks that you can actually start reaching out to now, and see if this is something that they would be interested in doing. They can customize their own page, they can set their own goal, they can talk about their own experience with engaging with the organization, which goes back to the testimonial. Maybe it's a client that was in your program before, and they just bought their home, because of the help of your organization. And as a result, they want to find a way to help out. And so they want to be a peer-to-peer fundraiser. So they have their own story, and they have their own network that they can reach out to help raise money for your organization. But also make sure that you don't leave folks in the dark. You have to explain the process. So get familiar with the platform and how it operates. And if you're not familiar, you can ask one of us to help you to get familiar with how the system works, and then make it easy for them. Help them with the lift. If they don't have the time, volunteer to make the page for them, and walk them through the process, but just be there to make sure that you're supportive, just the way that, we want to be supportive to you all. Make sure that you're very supportive to those that are going to be supporting you on that day.
And I would think outside the box, think beyond the people you know in person, but look who's really engaged with your social media, who likes everything, who comments. Reach out to those people and see if they'd like to get involved in Do More 24.
Yes, that's been successful. We've had a gentleman down in Sussex County who actually was using Facebook Messenger for those that were liking his posts and commenting and asking them to do the same.
And then in terms of engaging your volunteers, board members, and donors, it is so much more effective to reach out personally to recruit your ambassadors. Sending a blanket message in an e-newsletter might drum up a couple, but if you can do a phone call, a personal email, that's so much more effective. So your ambassadors are people that you'll find who are willing to make their own gifts and talk about making their own gifts. That'll post online and say, I just donated to Do More 24. I hope you'll join me. That will share your posts. And then will create their own posts related to the campaign and will help recruit within their network. So these are people that will really help you expand your reach. These are your number one fans. So hopefully your board members are counted in there. And depending on their tech savviness, you may need to do some coaching and some training. And again, with your donors, I would reach out to the donors that are most active with you, that you have the closest relationships to. Same with volunteers, reaching out to that base.
And what's great about Do More 24 Delaware is that you get equipped with a toolkit. So you'll get all sorts of collateral that you can use to customize for your organization. And you can use that to help push out to your board, your volunteers, that they can use. So they don't really have to think about it. They could just, plug and play.
And that's really the key, is to make it easy for all of your supporters. You don't want to make them work too hard. And we sort of teased you earlier about matching gifts. Those can be so effective. So here you can start by identifying a donor or group of donors, such as your board. That is a great group that could offer a matching gift. And you can certainly determine the mechanics. I mean, it'd be awesome if, dollar for dollar, your board is willing to do that. Maybe they set a limit. You don't want to rob everyone blind. And then you could also do it, maybe it's $1,000 once you've reached $10,000, or it's something to reward for every new donor, it's 50 cents a match for each new donor. So it really depends on what your matching donor is willing to do for you. And then promote that match everywhere. Mention that everywhere you mention Do More 24. That's something that really does motivate people, because you think, okay, I'm going to donate $100. It's going to turn into $150. It's going to turn into $200. So really be creative with that match.
And what's great about the platform, DoMore24Delaware.org, is that you get to use the platform to talk about the match. So there's an opportunity within the platform to mechanism for the match. So it will be on their page, and then it also will be calculated in their real-time day of.
Oh, that's a great feature.
Yeah. All right, building and maintaining donor relationships. Oh my goodness. This is, I would say, I think Stephanie's, uh, this is kind of like her thing. You know what I mean? Like she wants to make sure that the relationships that you have with your donors are ones that you have for a lifetime and not just for this one particular day.
Truly effective fundraising is relational, not transactional. So obviously there's going to be an auto-generated receipt for anyone who donates online through the platform,
Right.
but you have the ability to customize that. Don't be lazy and just have the automatic one. Customize it. Put a story in there. Put another call to action. Thank you so much for your support today. We'd love to invite you to a tour, or we're having a Do More 24 celebration party next Thursday. We hope you can join us. Email Stephanie to RSVP. And you could also surprise your donors with a call or a handwritten note. One organization I know actually had all board members make phone calls to all donors on a giving day. And it was a great chance. The donors actually did pick up the phone, surprisingly, but people not answering the phone nowadays. It was a great chance for board members to, first of all, get more engaged in the mission themselves by hearing from these donors, and the donors to feel special that, wow, a board member is calling me. And it was a great chance for the board members to receive feedback. They reported to the organization. And it could be staff calling and thanking, volunteers, but I think as soon as possible, as soon as you can do it, the better. And handwritten note cards are great too, because that's something every organization knows they should do, but so few do it. So especially with new donors, it's great to welcome them and make them happy that they chose your organization for their gift.
And one of the benefits of participating in Do More 24 Delaware is that you will receive new donors. And then also too, you can see who's donating to you in real time. So a lot of organizations take advantage of that because they are calling their donors in real time and saying, thank you so much for donating. So that make sure you utilize that you get to see who's donating to you in real time and figure out a plan of how you're going to thank them, whether it's that day, the next day, but there's a lot of creative ways that you can use since you have the information right in front of you.
Because not everyone wants public thank you, but every donor does want to be thanked and know that their gift is appreciated and used for supporting your mission.
With the auto-generated receipt too, I just want to let folks know that Do More 24 is going to be more about just donating on that day, but you'll get an opportunity to encourage folks to volunteer. So a part of the platform will be volunteerism. So this is another way to get folks introduced to your organization, and statistics tell us that when folks actually experience your mission, they're more likely to give. So that'll be a new functionality connected to Do More 24 Delaware that day as well.
And I really encourage you, in addition to the auto-generated thank you, to kill a tree and send a real paper thank you that you mail through the U.S. Postal Service. And in your thank you letter, make the donor know the gift was a good decision. Explain and obviously it's unrestricted gifts, but explain what work it is that you do. Explain your mission in action.
Or what you're planning to do with those dollars.
And personalize it. No, dear friend, dear donor, mail merges your friend. And as you're writing, think about how many times you're saying you versus we. You want more you in the letter talking about the donor than you as the organization. And do talk about what the gift was for, especially if you are going to go the route of, we're trying to raise $10,000 that'll feed so many homeless pets for a certain length of time. Remind them of that. And invite personal contact in the letter. We'd love to have you come for a tour. Please don't ever hesitate to contact us with questions, and make sure that it's an honest and heartfelt thank you. And let's be honest, people are lazy readers. So you're going to need memorable first and last sentences, and definitely hand sign it.
Yeah, and this is another way to get your board involved too. You can have board members actually sign it. Or if you have clients that are very close to your mission work, you can have your client sign it. There's a lot of different ways that you can, get creative with that.
You want to make your donors feel like this letter was for them. 500 people weren't getting the same letter. And you can certainly add personal notes to the thank you letters. Thank you so much for making your first gift. We're happy to welcome you to the family. Or for longtime supporters, to thank them for their continued generosity. So really make it as personal as you can.
So don't forget to thank your donors. I mean, statistically, donors don't get thanked. So we want to make sure that they are being thanked for Do More 24 Delaware.
And once you have all these new donors and you've re-engaged your existing donors, don't just ignore them until the next Do More 24.
No, don't do that.
Or your annual campaign you may be kicking off in the fall. Maintain the relationship throughout the year. Here, update calls, letters, newsletters, visits, events. Now, obviously, you can't call every donor that gives you $25. You may need to segment that, but you might realize that, wow, anyone that gave us $500 or more, we could pay a little more attention to them because they probably have a greater capacity than that if we got them
Right.
to fall in love with us. And certainly newsletters, whether they're print or e-newsletters, are a great way to keep in touch with a lot of donors throughout the year. You don't want people just to hear from you when you're asking for money. And now we're going to give you a real life example of a success story. Canine Partners for Life is an organization in Cochranville, Pennsylvania that trains service dogs for people with disabilities. So they weren't a Do More 24 participant. The examples we're going to show are actually from Giving Tuesday, but it was such a success, and the effort they really put into communications, I think, really can be replicated successfully for Do More 24. So in advance of Giving Tuesday, which was December 4th, on December 12th, Canine Partners updated their banner on Facebook to remind everybody, Giving Tuesday was December 3rd, that Giving Tuesday was coming up, the hashtag, and their goal for that year. And that goal of $60,000 had meaning. It's the price that it costs to raise 2 service dogs, get them through all their training, and place them with someone with a disability. And then Canine Partners for Life started promoting Giving Tuesday via Facebook on November 19th, 2 weeks out, letting people know what the goal was, obviously an adorable photo, a link to learning more about the Giving Day, following up a week later, hey, we're just 7 days out, again, with another awesome photo. And then the day before, really starting to tease people with some incentives. And incentives are something that you can certainly offer for Do More 24. So for Canine Partners for Life, if you donated $30 or more between 12 and 1, you were actually entered into a raffle to name a puppy. And that's actually a really awesome prize because normally it's a $1,000 donation to name a puppy. So I definitely donated during that time to try to name a puppy. I didn't win, but I tried. And then
So I just want to interject too. So for the Giving Day for Do More 24, we have the luxury of, not luxury, but benefit to have a prize pool. So we have prizes throughout the day to keep the momentum. So from 6 p.m. to 6 p.m., there'll be a host of prizes between $500, $1,000, $2,000. And then this year we have a stretch pool. So what that means is that the more that you raise that day, depending on what we raise totally for Do More 24 that day, whatever you raise, whatever that percentage is of what we raise for that day, you get that to your bottom line as well. So this is a great way to galvanize your donors, to your point, through social media, and get them paying attention to the prizes to help you raise a little bit more money.
And as I was saying, you could throw in your own prizes. So Canine Partners for Life, if you donated $150 or more, you got some Giggy Bites, which are dog treats. You donated between another certain time, you got a notepad. And they really promoted the challenge. So they had 2 different matches. So once they got to $30,000, a donor kicked in $4,000. And if they got to their goal of $60,000, the board of directors donated an additional $9,600. So that was really motivating for people. And on the actual Giving Tuesday, there were posts all day long sharing stories, pictures of actual participants with their dogs, puppies in training, updates, hey, we're halfway to our goal, thanking certain donors with pictures of the donors. So really getting creative and not worrying about posting too much that day. Because it's one day, you really got to put everything you have into that day. And what was really cool was the use of video. So for those donors that donated between noon and 1 and got their name in the drawing for a puppy naming opportunity, Alice, the dog pictured in the photo on the left side of your screen, actually drew the winner. And it was a video live on Facebook of her drawing the winner. And then another post was reminding everybody about, hey, you donate between 3 and 4, you get a CPL notepad. And I know it's a little unfair because not everyone has adorable dogs that you can promote, but really think about what images convey your mission. And the posting continued. Canine Partners for Life had more videos with a service recipient sharing her story, the story of another one when they were so close to their goal, 59,376. And then a reminder, pretty late at night, 2 more hours to go because it went until midnight. Because, well, I don't think everyone's on social media all day long. So you need to really beef up those posts so people will catch it. I happen to have favorited Canine Partners for Life on Facebook, so I don't miss a single post. But we know, unfortunately, that not all of our donors and supporters are that in love with us that they favorited us and will see everything that we post.
I think the point that Stephanie is making and really driving home here is that you can take complete control and ownership of the content, and you can use this as an opportunity to be as creative, to be as fun. And this may be something different for your organization. So create that video. Think about those pictures. Think about what you're going to be posting that day. Sort of take the ownership of that day and get creative, have fun, and get folks engaged and excited about what you're doing. It's a great way to show folks who may not have known about your organization, just like us right now. We may not have known about Canine Partners for Life, but now we have a better understanding. Use this day as an opportunity for folks to get a better understanding of your work, because trust me, if they know about the mission and what you're doing in the lives of folks in Delaware, they are more likely to, one, talk about it, share it, and also give.
And don't be frustrated by a lack of likes or shares or comments. Just because people don't doesn't mean they're not seeing it. Canine Partners for Life has over 16,000 Facebook followers, and you're seeing, okay, 18 shares. That doesn't sound that great, but that's still 18 people that cared enough to say, hey, friends, I'm supporting this. Support it with me.
But when you share it to someone else, so if I share it to Stephanie's page and she has 600 friends, that means some of her friends get to see it. If one of her friends share it to the next, it's a domino effect in regards of sharing. And that's a great way to beat the algorithm for Facebook, is to get more folks talking about it and sharing it.
So definitely engage your ambassadors, have them remember to, maybe even let them know when you're doing the Facebook post and say, go on Facebook, share it.
And if you're an admin to your page, you can actually see the organic views. So this is what, a person who doesn't have the back end will see, the 18 shares, the 1 comment, but you as an admin will actually get to see, the number of folks that are actually viewing your post.
And then what Canine Partners for Life did on social media was a thank you after the fact. So after Giving Tuesday was over, they, highlighted they had 270 donors that day and raised over $68,000 in one day. So that is doable when you have a plan and you work your plan. And there was also a e-blast campaign that day. And the first one came in was make a gift in the next hour and you could name a CPL puppy. That was sent around noon with that adorable little photo. And that's the one that got me. That made me click and donate.
But that's a great way, because you can use the prizes that are set up for June 24 that day and use that as a way to email and engage your folks who like to be emailed to.
And because not everyone's on social media.
Right.
And make it easy with a click here to make your gift. Make it easy for people and double check that those links work before you send out your e-blasts. Mm-hmm. And then there was a second email that day about how close CPL was to the goal, make your gift before midnight, that final reminder to catch those night owls. And then the thank you, the auto-generated thank you, actually featured the story of one of the graduates. So it was a personalized thank you. It wasn't just your tax receipt. Thank you for your gift of $100, fully tax deductible, the extent of the law, all that stuff. It actually was personalized, which was great. And then a follow-up later was an actual paper thank you letter with a photo of a dog. Now, Peanut Partners for Life always includes a photo of a dog with a thank you. That's why I think my husband makes lots of donations throughout the year. He wants to collect all the dog photos like they're trading cards. But that's certain. But, it's nice to get the two thank yous, to really feel appreciated. And we have some closing tips.
So make sure, and I think we've said it throughout the entire training today, is just to make sure that you can be creative. This is an opportunity. This campaign is fun. You can be creative as you want to be. Use the videos, use your pictures, get other folks talking on your behalf. Find out who those ambassadors are. Get your volunteers engaged, your board, your staff. Make it a fun day for everyone. It's 24 hours, 6 to 6. You could do some happy hours. You could do a whole host of things. And if you are stuck with ideas, please feel free to, one, reach out to United Way of Delaware Spur Impact, to reach out to some of your colleagues that have been a part of Do More 24. Ask them what they've done. I know that there are more than one organization that will be willing to help a fellow nonprofit be successful that day. And to Stephanie's point, be persistent. Start planning now. Just like the campaign that you just saw from Canine Partners for Life, they were persistent in their communication and how they were going to engage their folks. And Stephanie loves, let's be realistic. Don't shoot too high, like you said, right? Make sure it's something that you feel as though is attainable, and make sure that it's something that folks can rally behind. And for my colleague, follow fundraising best practices. She's the fundraising guru here. So
thank your donors, show your donors appreciation, and make sure that you're going to keep communicating with them throughout the year, that it's not just, hey, thanks for your Do More 24 gift, bye, see you next year.
No, we don't want that to happen. This is a capacity building opportunity for you as an organization.
Thank you so much for joining us.
And have a wonderful day, and we will see you March 5th through 6th.